Hi everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to learn how to produce the ICS 201 using Dragonfly. First, start Dragonfly. Next, create a new project. Name your project. In this case, I'm going to name it ICS 201. Double click on the default names. If you get lost, just look at the steps that are laid out here. Double click. There we go. Now, on the left is the Forms tab, so we're going to directly engage the form this way. Now, I'm going to pin the slide, and don't forget, if you want to customize how you're docked, you can use your left mouse, drag, place your cursor on any of these anchor icons, and that's where your tab will reside. I'm going to place mine on the right side. Okay, double click on the ICS 201. Name your incident. This is going to be called ICS How To. The incident number is 5689. The date initiated is the 24th. Now, this is the same calendar tool that you'll see in all Microsoft tools, so just double click it. Time initiated is about 1400. Now, there are 7 blocks that you're going to interact with. These correspond with the information blocks that are part of the ICS 201 2010 form sets. Also, if there are any forms that you need added to your Dragonfly, reach out to your Dragonfly sales rep and they'll put you in touch with the developer to get those custom forms put into yours. Now, in these fields, you can place information in through typing, or you can cut and paste. Now, you'll notice that that first bit of information I typed was all in red. That's because it's not in the dictionary. That's telling you you need to use your spell check. So to use spell check, just double click on the red text and you have some choices here. Now I wanted to spell alfalfa. There we go. If you don't correct your misspelling when the form prints, it will actually be in red. You'll probably want to correct that. Next, let's look at current and planned objectives. This is the same process. Type in the information or copy and paste. Don't forget to correct the problems. Next is what's called current and planned action strategies and tactics. How you put the information in here is slightly different than the other 2 modules. Click on the add action, place your time, and the action. Then hit apply. You'll notice that the add action window stays open because it anticipates that you want to add more actions. If you're done, just hit close. Next is what's called current organization. The current organization block actually takes a snapshot of current organization as displayed in the org chart tool. Now I'm going to jump ahead here real quick and I'm going to add some structure. In this case, this is really what's been going on with the incident up until the point that you arrived. Okay, so as you can see, we have an organization built out. Now I'm going to jump back to the forms, back to the 201, and I'm going to jump back into the current organization. As you can see, it's displaying the information from the org chart. Now this is one of the most common problems that people have when they're producing the 201, is they'll build it out, they'll see everything they need, then when they print it, they don't see the org chart. Oftentimes when we connect with them to do troubleshooting, this is where it goes wrong, is they forget to set the organization image. Set it. That way you guys won't have to worry about not seeing it. Next is organization image view. So this shows you what's going to be put into the block of the 201 where the organization goes into. Next is resource summary. There are 2 ways to get information into the resource summary. One is through import data. When you press this button, this will input or import any positions or personnel that have been placed into the assignment, including equipment. The other process is to add a resource from scratch. For example, by hitting the add resource, now you can actually put this in. Now you can put this in for equipment or people. Fill out the forms, make any corrections. Now I'm going to show you what happens when you misspell in one of these table text fields. Hit the space bar, the field turns pink. That's telling you you have a misspelling. Double click in the field, the dictionary will open up. Okay. When you're done, hit apply. Now you'll notice that I have a error that kicked up, and that's because you have to fill out some of these fields before you can commit the record. These are populated throughout Dragonfly, so when you miss a step or you're trying to accomplish something that it's not designed to do, the program will tell you. Alright, close. Next is the map sketch. In Dragonfly, you can utilize our onboard tool like our eMap to build out or develop your sketch or your map, take a picture of it, and then import it. I did that earlier, and the process is pretty straightforward. Import map sketch, click on the button, locate where your map is, click open, give it a description, and then hit OK. Now you'll see a map. When you're done, click Print Form. Incidentally, every one of the ICS forms that are built into Dragonfly have a Print Form button. This button allows you to preview what the form is going to come out as, and it also allows you to generate a blank form. So if you need to hand off a blank form to somebody for them to manually fill out, and then you can incorporate into your IAP, you can do that in Dragonfly. So let's take a look. There we go. We've got a 4-page ICS 201 that's completed. Now you'll notice that this information is available later on if you were to start a formal op period. We'll learn about that later when we're talking about our op period managing tool. There we go. Thanks for joining me. This is how you created an ICS 201. Hello everyone. In this video, we're going to take a look at how you produce the ICS 202 using Dragonfly. Start Dragonfly. New project. Name the project. ICS 202 is what we're going to call this one. Double click on default NIMs. Go to your Forms tab on the left side. Double click Incident 202. Give it an incident name. We're going to name this ICS 202 How to Do It. Now you'll notice there's a little bit of difference here between the ICS 201 and the ICS 202. We have a few more fields to work with. Now we can actually set the operational period. So we're just going to make this a 12-hour op period from today, from 0600 to the same day at 1800. Now you'll notice there are 4 edit modules that align with the portions of the 2010 ICS 202 information blocks. As you remember from the 201, you can type in space or you can paste. Now remember, if you have text that are red, that's a misspelled word. If you don't correct it, it'll print out red. I'm going to ignore. I'm actually going to just delete this out. This ALS, that is going to get added. Okay. Next is the general situational awareness statement. Again, copy and paste or type into it. Same with the operational period command emphasis. And then the incident action plan. Remember, this is the bottom of the ICS, that basic ICS 202 that is asking for what is going to be inside of your IAP. So in this case, there's a site safety plan. Where is it located? This is going to be at the ICP. And we're going to say a 202, 3, 4, 5A, 6, 7, and 8. Got some of this. And then we're going to say we have our severe weather plan. Is going to be attached as well. Remember, once you're done, view your work by clicking on the print form. The print form tool allows you to preview your work, and it also allows you to print out blank forms if you like. So here you go. There's the ICS 202, and thank you for joining me on how to make the ICS 202 using Dragonfly. Hello everyone. In this video we're going to learn how to use the ICS 203 form inside of Dragonfly. As you already know, you have to have an IAP open. Go to the forms, open up the ICS 203. The ICS 203 is a very powerful tool. It actually talks to other portions of the IAP. It'll talk to the org chart and the org chart will talk back. What that means is data that you create in the ICS 203 will automatically build your 207, your org chart, populate different portions of the IAP. Now you'll notice that we need to name this. So let's just call this our forms how to, because we're going to use this IAP on the rest of our forms. Forms how to. Op period is going to be tomorrow, and we're going to get started 0600, and the date will be the 25th tomorrow, and we'll end at 1800. Now, there's some certain relationships to these modules on the left in the blue banners. These modules are specific to which portions of the 203 you're going to open up. And remember, if you need a blank 203, we can just click print form, and we'll get a blank 203 generated. Now, you're seeing some colors in mine because what I've done is in the preferences, I made specific changes to certain things with regards to print colors. And you're seeing that direct relationship. I like doing this because it allows me to show and call out the different parts of the 203 quite easily. Now let's look at what's going on with the Incident Commander and Command Staff. If I want to turn on any of these positions or include them on the org chart or to be on the 203, I just double click and set as to be determined. Okay, now to verify what's going on here, let's look at the org chart. There we go, you see the org chart. Now if we went back to the 207, we would see that same view. So 203 talks to the org chart tool talks back and talks to the 207. Now let's say we want to put a person. We know who's going to be the safety officer. So what we do is we just double click on the position so we get the sub menu, and then we click add new person. Now for the sake of speed, if we just jump into the displayed name, we can just type in the person and you can fill out the rest of these fields if you like, or you don't have to. And then you can also click on what's called add to roster. What this will do is add to your offline roster any person that you put in. Now I'm just going to hit apply. And as you can see, Janet Sparks is in there. Again, I'm going to double click on the position, add new person, and this is going to be Jane Doe. Again, hit apply. Let's take a look at what's happening back on the org chart. So as you can see, their names are showing up. Now, if we were to add any of the rest of the information in there, that would also show up, such as phone number and organization. That would be included in that org chart. Okay, now let's add a branch and a couple divisions. Now, it's important you understand the concept that I'm about to describe. When you're dealing with an incident where the incident commander is directly managing branches and divisions or groups, you will always make sure that you click the incident commander and command staff. Then double click on the incident commander and add the subordinate. So I'm adding a law branch. If I wanted to right now, I could add a new person. Or if I had anybody in my roster, I could actually drag and drop them in here. I'm just going to hit apply. There's our law branch under the branch name section. Let's double click with the incident commander to add our divisions. We're going to call this West Division. Hit apply. As you can see, the divisions are being built. Now let's take a look at what this is going to print out as. Remember, you can print any of the forms blank. You'll notice that West Division went under a division group and the law branch. Now, is the relationship here, because of the way we put it in, we did not necessarily say the West Division worked for the law branch. There's ways to make that happen. So to make this a little clearer, we can go over to the org chart and we can see that because we put it in that method, that the law branch works for the incident commander and West Division works for the incident commander. Now, we can fix that simply by highlighting, holding shift, and dragging and dropping the resource to get the relationship correct. Now, will that backfill to the 203? As you can see, it does. Okay. Now, also, when there is no relationship between a division and group supervisor to any other operational type entities, for example, you have an incident commander directly controlling divisions and groups, all your division groups will drop under the division group portion of the ICS 203 right here. When those division groups have a higher level supervisor, specifically a law branch or an ops chief, then they will fall under alignment. Okay, now let's add an ops chief. You can add an ops chief simply by going to the ops section, double clicking, set as to be determined. Now we have an operations chief. Now we need to move the law branch over. Remember, highlight, hold shift, drag and drop. That will realign how our 203 displays. And incidentally, people don't necessarily use the ICS 203 form inside Dragonfly. Because of the power of the org chart tool, they tend to do a lot of their work in there. However, this is how we use the 203, so I'm going to show that to you. Okay, let's close the print preview. So I think you're probably getting the idea of how you add positions with the 203. Planning section, and a resource unit leader, and a documentation unit leader. All I'm doing is double clicking on the position, setting as to be determined. Same with the logs chief. Maybe we want a supply unit and a comm unit. Finance, we just need a procurement unit. And then air operations branch. Okay, let's preview the form. See, you can see the incident name, the op period, the positions plus names that are turned on currently. When this prints out, you'll notice that the IAP page block will have to be penciled in. Additionally, the name of the person who prepared it and the date and time. In the future, that'll be an automated process. How do you delete off of the 203? Just double click into the position and click delete position. If you want to reset it back to a to be determined state, just double click again and set as to be determined. Thanks guys, this is how you produce the ICS 203. Hello again. In this video segment, we're going to take a look at how you utilize and produce the ICS 204. I'm going to open the org chart. This organization structure has directly come over from the work we did in the ICS 203 video. Now, to produce an ICS 204, there's a couple ways to do it. You can go to the Forms tab and directly access it by double-clicking on the 204. Or you can actually access a 204 from the org chart simply by highlighting a division or group, right-clicking, and then clicking ICS 204 assignment list. This is a very fast way to produce your 204s, plus it gives you a visual representation. We find that people who use Dragonfly frequently will use this tool in this process of producing the 204s. Either way, the inputs or the edit modules are the same. So to get started, the first thing you do when you're using the org chart process is highlight the division or group, right click, click on ICS 204. Now you'll notice that you'll have an ICS 204 assignment list West Division open. Now I'm going to create real quick another division under the branch so that you can see what happens with the display of the editing window. So we have a West division, and you see that in the window we actually see West division, so you know which division you're currently selected. And now under East, we can see that we have East division. Okay. Now let's go ahead and produce some information here. There's going to be 5 blocks that you'll be using, or 5 edit modules. The first is resource assign, work assignment, special instructions, communications, and summary. Resources assigned will only populate when you have added a resource to that division or group using the org chart tool. So, for example, I'm going to create a strike team. And this strike team is called Strike Team 1. I don't have a person's name yet, but I'm going to hit apply. You'll notice the org chart added a plus, and there's my strike team. Now when I return back to the 204, you'll notice that it's starting to show you resources assigned. Our 204s will count the supervisor plus any other personnel or members assigned to that unit. Next is the work assignment. Work assignments can be typed in, or you can paste them in. Next is special instructions. Again, can be typed in or copied and pasted. Next is what's called the communication tab. The communication tab is broken into 2 parts. The upper part, called communications, where you see communication block, is actually the bottom page of the ICS 204 that shows the designated communications information for that specific division or group that the 204 is getting. The next window that's on the bottom is actually a preview window to the ICS 205. So the way our 204 is designed when you're building it is you can directly start taking frequencies that have been put into the ICS 205. Now right now the ICS 205 is not filled out, so therefore we don't have any resources that we can take out of the 205. You can manually just type in the name of the frequency. You can also put in the function manually. Okay, or you can do the same information and backwrite to the ICS 205. Now, the open radio channel list, when you click on this, will open up your communications roster that's located under setup. Okay. Now, if you click add new channel, you can actually start inputting into the 205 as you're building the 204. And if you click on this box right here, any data that you put in will backwrite to your offline roster, and you can use it for later. Next is the summary button. This summary button is in here because certain customers of Dragonfly have requested this, is that they're able to create a summarized ICS 204. Now let's look at another way to use the ICS 204. This first portion of the video was detailing how you use the ICS 204, or how you build it out of the org chart. Now let's just go to the forms directly. Now this is a little different view, but when you pare it down, you will start seeing some of the same edit modules that you saw on the org chart. The main difference is we have our operations personnel module, resources assigned is second, work assignments, special instructions, and communication. And then on the right side, we have 2 windows. The top one automatically populates whenever you create a division or group. These automatically get included in the IAP or are available for you to edit. Now below is what's called the unit list. Some incidents may require the need to create a ICS 204 for a specialized unit. In this case, we had a strike team working for one of the divisions. If we want the ICS 204 for that strike team, we just double click. If you forget, read the instructions. Now what we do is we just select which ICS 204 we want to edit. In this case, I'm selecting West Division. And I can go into the resources assigned, work assignments, special instructions, and communications. Now it's time I want to edit the East Division. Same idea. You just walk through, place the information in accordingly. And then fill out the comms. Now, if I open the radio channel and I had anything in my roster, it would be there. When you're ready to print, just click the print form to preview. Now, if you had any resources, that would populate as well. Let's jump to the West Division because it has a resource on there. Let's take a look. There we go. All right, thank you for joining me on how to create the ICS 204. In this video, we're going to take a look at how you build the ICS 205 communication list inside of Dragonfly. Now, in the ICS 204, I gave you a quick demonstration of building out the ICS 205. I really didn't explain much because I wanted you to see how the 204 looks at the 205. Now I'm going to show you how to build from scratch your 205. Remember, one of Dragonfly's features is that multiple people can be working on the same IAP inside of different forms to cooperatively develop the IAP. So if you open up your forms pop out or slide window, you can double click on the ICS 205. Any incident name data, operational period information is available here. You can also change that for the rest of the forms simply by editing these. Okay, the 205 can have records added to it in two main ways. The first way is what's called a manual entry, and you can click Add New. Put in the information, and if you click the box called Add to Communication Library and then Apply, that information will automatically load to your comms roster or your comms library. The other way to get information into your ICS 205 is to utilize the Open Radio Channels list, which looks back at the communications library as well. Now in this case, we just open it, we pick out our frequencies, drag and drop them to the field, the gray field there, and close it when we're done. Then we can put in our special instructions. You can either type them in or you can paste them in. Your choice. Once you're done, hit print form. There's your ICS 205 communications list. Now, what do you do when you've made a mistake? Well, highlight the frequency, hit delete on your keyboard, hit yes. The frequency will go away. Thanks for joining me on this. Remember, this is how you build your ICS 205 communications plan. See you at the next video. In this video, we're going to see how we build the ICS 206 medical plan. The medical plan is located under your forms slide. Double click on the ICS 206. Now, you cannot build any forms unless you have a current IAP running. As you can see, we're using our forms how-to incident to build our plan. We have four main sections that make up this form: medical aid stations, transportation, hospitals, and special medical emergency procedures. There's a couple ways to get information in here. Under medical aid stations, it's a manual addition. You click the Add Medical Aid Station, put in the information, hit Apply. Now under transportation, there are two ways. We can access the Add New Service and create a new record. And if we click on the Add to Ambulance Service library, that will put back into our roster that ambulance service. Or we can click on Open Ambulance Service List. Remember, this list is tied into your roster as well, your ambulance roster. And in the demonstration, in the roster video, we learned how to populate that. So let's open our ambulance section. Let's pick by dragging and dropping who we're going to use for the incident. And now we can go in and add the hospital. Hospitals can have information added in two ways as well. The manual Add New Hospital. And this also includes a button that allows you to back end to your roster, or whatever you manually include here can automatically be put into your offline roster. Or we can access the roster and use our drag and drop. So we'll pick a couple of these, and there we go. I selected the wrong hospital. So how do we delete a hospital? Select it, hit delete, hit yes. Now let's go get the right one. There we are. Now we have what we need. Special medical procedures, information can be typed in, and then you can copy and paste. Delete. Okay. Now, at the bottom is check the box if aviation assets are to be utilized. Pretty self-explanatory. Time to print, hit the print form. Remember, you can also print blank forms. As you can see, all your information gets placed in accordingly. Thanks for joining me on the ICS 206. Now let's take a look at how we build the ICS 207. In this video, we're going to take a look at how you produce the ICS 207. Remember, these forms cannot be created or edited unless you have an IAP already open. Alright, there's two ways to access the org chart. There's a primary ICS 207 production using the ICS 207 form. You just double click on it, and what you're going to see is some incident information and the current view of the org chart. Now, inside the ICS 207, anything below the law branch and below is going to be set so it's not expanded. If you want to see what's below that or show it in an expanded mode, just double click. Okay? Or you can minimize what you don't want to show. Either way, it allows you to configure it. Now, you cannot edit the incident in here. This is just adjusting the view that is coming from the org chart. Okay, so there's a primary way, which is the ICS 207, and you can also do what's called an alternative ICS 207. Alright, inside this ICS 207, the first main thing you have to do is set the organization image. Once you've done that, then you can display it. And this is what will actually be printed. Now remember, the bigger your organization gets, the smaller the organization is going to be viewed on this print job. So the software is designed to take the org chart and shrink it so it shows or fits inside the margins of this form. So if you see that you're having a problem where you can't read what the positions are, then you're going to need to use the alternative print mode. Let's take a look at that. To get there, go to your org chart, go to your chart tools, go to your print. In this area, you can actually set up how we manage or what the print job is ultimately going to look like. Okay, so in this case, if I kick this out, this is readable, but you can go up here into setup. For example, if you need to send it to a plot printer, you can go in and set those printing properties. You can also build custom print jobs if you like. Now, in order to do plot printing, you will have to have the actual drivers available to you. When you're done, hit close or hit print. When it prints in the alternative mode, it will include the ICS 207 plus a naming convention. That is how we produce the ICS 207. See you on the next video. In this video, we are going to take a look at how we produce the ICS 208. Open up your Forms slide, double-click on the 208. This is a pretty straightforward form that the safety officer uses. The incident name and the incident detail will be available to you. The safety message, safety plan, site information goes in. You can either type it or cut and paste. Site safety plan required, yes or no, and don't forget to put in the location. When you're ready to submit or print the form, just click print and review. That's how you create the ICS 208. See you at the next one. In this video, we are going to view how we create the ICS 209. This is a pretty long and in-depth form, but no less, Dragonfly makes this simple and easy to use. Open up your forms list and double-click on the ICS 209. You'll notice that we have different editing modules or blocks here. Just like the 4-page paper version, we also will produce a 4-page document out of here. Now you'll notice that we have initially under General, Initial, Update, or Final Information. Now some information automatically is being populated into the 209 based on some other information that is detailed inside the incident. First, we'll see that we have the forms how to. If there was a number associated with the incident, that would go in there. You can actually manually put in a report number, your incident management organization information, the start date, start time, your time zone, current incident size, percent contained, completed, the incident definition, complexity, from and to. Now, I'm not going to talk to you and give you instructions on actually what information goes into the 209, because if you're accessing the 209, you probably have the training to understand what goes in here. Next, you fill out the approval and routing. Fill in the blocks with the information that's needed. Just double-click into the field, type, or copy and paste. Incident location information, your incident summary. Now, these fields that you see here will receive your data by double-clicking in them, or you can just highlight and then change the numbers. Public status summary, responder status summary, life safety and health issues, incident decision support information, and then last, your incident resource commitment summary. Now, to get this to work, what we first have to do is click Add Agency. This is basically a summary that details what organizations are part of the incident, what type of organizations they are, how many personnel resources and how many equipment resources are detailed. So in this case, we'll just call this Anywhere Fire. Anywhere Fire. Now, once you've created that, then you can go in and add the resource type. Now, how do you add the resource type? Click on the Add Resource Type button. A window will pop out called the Resource List. Click Add New. This type is going to be called Fire Department. Hit OK. Now, we can keep adding these in simply by just clicking Add New. So you can use the step-by-step process of Add Agency, Add Resource Type. Or you can open Add Agency and add as many as you want, and then go to Add Resource Type and add as many as you want. Now, the next step that you use when you're in the resource list is you have to drag and drop this over to the resource type field. Then you're able to put in that summary. Okay, and then when you're done, hit close. Now when we print the form, we'll see our data inside of there. Thank you for spending the time learning how to build the ICS 209. If you have additional questions on how the 209 works, don't be afraid to contact your regional technical center. In this video, we are going to see how we build out the ICS 210 resource status change. Open up your form slide, double click on the ICS 210. You'll see that there's information from the incident detailed at the top. This is a very straightforward form. There are two parts to it, resource list and comments. This form is used when a resource changes its status. So to get started, you click on Add New Resource. In this case, I'm going to create Engine 21. The resource name is, resource 21 is the identifier. The resource name is going to be Anywhere Fire Department, Engine 21. The status is out of service. Now, this resource came from Division Alpha Fire Suppression. It's going to the motor pool at base camp. The date change, the time date change is going to be 1600 3/24/2015. Once you're done, hit apply, hit close. Now you can add comments. So in this case, you can get detailed about why it was out of service. The pump packing has a serious leak. Repair have been ordered and estimated to be fixed in 24 hours. Alright, now that I'm done, I can print preview. Here we go. Status change. AFD Engine 21 out of service from Division Alpha Fire Suppression to motor pool at base camp 1600 today. The comments. Pump packing has a serious leak. Repair have been ordered and estimated to be fixed in 24 hours. That's how you use or create the ICS 210. Thanks for your time. Bye-bye. In this video, I'm going to show you how to fill out your ICS 211 form. Go to your forms sheet, double click the incident check-in list ICS 211, put in your incident name, number, where the check-in is located, start date, start time. The only way you can get data into the 211 is through what's called import data. Import data pulls its information directly from the org chart. In this case, there are two ways to get that information in there. One is through a salamander import. In this case, I did an Intertrax import. And then the other way is to just manually create a person in there. Now I'm going to use the drag and drop function from my roster over to the assigned person, and I'm just going to say volunteer 1 and hit apply. So now I have volunteer 1 plus the rest of these single resources. Now I'm going to go back to the 211 and I'm just going to hit import data. When you hit import data, it brings in that information. Hit OK, hit print form. There's your 211. Now you can update this, so as you receive more resources, we can go in and say add subordinate, add another person, or we can go in and say add subordinate, add a single resource. And I'm going to do the drag and drop again. And Aurelio's in there. And this is volunteer 2 with 3 E's, not okay. There we go. Hit apply. Now I can go back, double click on the 211, hit import data, and as you can see, Aurelio is added to it. That's how you use the ICS 211. Generally speaking, when you're using Dragonfly to produce the ICS 211, you can kick out a blank form and then people can sign in manually, Or if you're using our partner technology, Salamander Intelligent Accountability, you can connect to it, and as they're scanning into the incident, you can import them. This is a very powerful tool, especially when you start seeing hundreds of resources starting to arrive. And when we talk about resources, we're not just talking about first responders, but also volunteers, or when you're doing event management, you can use the tool to put it in. Also, remember, the ICS 211 is a resource unit leader's tool, and it helps the build out of the IEP. It's generally not put inside the IEP, but we have that tool in here. Thanks for your time. See you in the next video. In this video, I'm going to show you how to utilize the ICS 213 general message inside of Dragonfly. Go to your form slide, double click on the ICS 213. Our ICS 213 takes care of a couple different functions. Traditionally, personnel or persons use the ICS 213 to request resources. Lately, however, we've seen it used in a couple different ways. It's used to call for resources. It's used to communicate intent. It's used as a general message tool. Now, in a cooperative mode, the ICS 213 can also be almost like an instant messenger, where you type into or create a new message and other users of the system can actually see what's going on and talk back to you. So to use the ICS 213, click on the Add New Message, who it's to. This is going to plans from logistics, and the date is today, and the time is about 1700. The subject is lunch. Or how about this? Laptop computer. And then you put the message in. The laptop that, excuse me, I always do this. The laptop you ordered has arrived. Hit apply. Now what's really great is we can go ahead and hit print, and off it goes. You can send this to somebody. Or plans can look inside here and see that this record has been put in and it references the plan. So what they can do is just go into the left column, put in their initial and say thank you. I will be by at 2100 to pick it up. And as you can see, it becomes part of the record. And why we like, and we've built the 213 in here, is it can keep track of any or messages for resources or conversations. Later on, you can recreate these. It's embedded permanently as part of the IEP. So if you want to print this bit of information, you just put it in there. Now let's create a fast message. If I wanted to, I could go in here and close this window, come back to it, and just start typing. And I can create these new form sets. Okay, this is fast. It's not going to be a part of the record. I'm just going in and adjusting it. The safety officer needs some PPE. I need 25 sets of latex-free gloves, large. If you hit the print form, then off it goes. Now you see it's not part of the record over here. The only way it becomes part of the record is if you had hit the Add New Message. So that's the ICS 213 general message, where you can use it as an instant messenger, a traditional resource request, or just a general message form. There are two ways to use it. The methodology of using the Add New Message, which commits it to the database, or the fast method where you just type into the left field and hit print form. Okay, thanks for your time. See you at the next one. Bye-bye. Hello, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create an ICS 213RR resource request form from Dragonfly. Open up your incident, select Forms, double-click in the resource request message. Of course, you can print this out as a blank form, or you can harness the horsepower that's built into Dragonfly. What I mean by that is whenever you create a new resource request, you can actually track that request form inside of Dragonfly. This is very powerful, especially when you're working in the cooperative mode. Is the logistics officer can be, or the logistics staff can be monitoring this portion of the incident and seeing new resource requests being created, and then they could be actionable on them and report the status all from within Dragonfly. So let's get started. The first step is you have to click on Create New Resource Request. So this is going to be called Tornado 2015-001. And as you can see, when you create a new request number, it gets put into an index. And that's important because each one of these orders may require us to add additional or amend this. So what I'm doing is copying this naming convention because I'm going to create another one of these. So the location we want this delivered at is going to be Division Alpha 8 and Main. Okay, now we move to the next field, which is suitable substitutes or suggested sources. I want to get this from Ajax Response PPE. This is requested by Div Alpha Supervisor. This is an urgent request. Section Chief approval. Logistics order number. The person creating this does not put this in. They may put in the supplier fax email or whatever. The name of the supplier's point of contact. That goes in. Any notes? You can talk about specifically what you're needing to do. Now, once that's put in, the person creating this form would then hit Add New Item. What this is going to do is build in what specifically is being ordered. One resource request number can encapsulate multiple resources in it that they're requesting. So maybe they want 25 total encapsulating suits, requested by J. Horner. Estimated time of arrival and estimated cost, $250 per suit. Hit apply. Hit close. Now let's take a look at how this form looks like when it's printed. Now to print it, there's a couple ways. You can click on Print Form, or you can go into Print IAP, and as you see, the index starts coming out, and you select the ICS 213RR, and then hit Print. So the information is placed into it. Now what happens is the logistics personnel, or whoever's finishing or completing this 213 to be actionable and get the order, would come in, take a look at the 213RR form, and then they would go in and add in the specific information. So in this case, this is the logistics order number 2015-001. They went ahead and used the procurement unit to get it, and finance has a comment. Please keep the packing list. Okay, now when we look at the form, we can see the information is in there. Now you can print this out in triplicate, and one can go to the person who generated the form, one can go to logistics, and one can go somewhere else. That's how we produce the ICS 213RR. Thanks. In this video, we're going to take a look at how the ICS 214 unit log is produced. Open up your forms, double click on unit log. In Dragonfly, a 214 is automatically created for every position that is created on the org chart. So in this case, we want a 214 for the incident commander. You can actually go in and edit some information here. Our 214 is slightly different than the normal 214s. We include the page 1, page 2 of the traditional ICS 214, but then we include a third page, which is called unit orders. We have customers that use this form in a non-traditional manner related to ICS. They will put specific unit orders regarding how units are supposed to operate. So in this way, for those individual units that don't traditionally get a 204, they'll use a 214. Now, if I want the incident commander to have a 204, or I want to a 214, I just select it. But in this case, I'm just going to give address the law branch. And in here, I'm going to detail, please turn in 214 at end of op period. Now we can select that and hit print form. This is the law branch. There's page 1, page 2, and then of course the back page, page 3. That is how you use Dragonfly to produce your ICS 214 unit log. Talk to you later. Bye-bye. In this video, we're going to create an ICS 215 using Dragonfly. Open up an incident, click on Forms, double-click on the Operational Planning Worksheet ICS 215. To get started, the first thing you're going to do is click Add Record. Typically, when the ICS 215 is being created, it is usually in the pre-tactics or tactics meeting. What this Add Record does is it allows you to input what portion of the 215 and what portion of the incident these resources are going to be needed to be ordered for. So in this case, the organization chart is going to include a law branch. And it's also going to have a perimeter group. And the work assignment is going to be traffic control / egress. Overhead positions. We need a division or group supervisor. We need some PPE, and the reporting location is going to be 8th and Farley. Requested time of arrival 0550. Hit apply. Now you keep going through this until you're done with the portions of the organization you need to create. Next is we're going to add in our resource list. So we could click Resource List, Add New. Now we need patrol cars. We need what's called an LEO, Law Enforcement Officer. We also need a SWAT team. All right, now that we have a list of resources, we're now going to commit them to the area of the incident or the record. So in this case, I'm going to select the law branch, and I'm going to give them patrol cars by dragging and dropping. I'm going to give them law enforcement officers, and I'm going to grab the SWAT team. Once that's done, now you can put in your required haves and needs. So we need 6 patrol cars. We have 3, that means we need 3. In the future, this will self-calculate in an update that we're releasing soon. Law enforcement officers, we need 12. We have 3, so that means we need 9. Last is a SWAT team. We need 2 SWAT teams. We have 0. We need 2. When you're done, hit print form and you'll be able to see all your work. So, block number 3 includes the law branch, the perimeter group. The work assignment is traffic control and egress. The resources are patrol cars, law enforcement officers, and SWAT. The overhead positions, the special equipment and supplies, the reporting location, requested time is all in there. And then you'll notice that you have your total resources required, on hand, and need to be ordered. That's how you produce the ICS 215. Now let's take a look at how you amend this record. Maybe you've made a mistake and you need to remove one of the resources. Simply select the resource, look for the black arrow, hit delete, and click yes. You can also go in once a record is created and make changes to any of the information that is in there. Thank you. We'll see you on the next video. In this video, we are going to see how you produce the 215A. Open up Forms, select ICS 215A Incident Action Plan Safety Analysis, and then verify the incident data. To get this started, all you have to do is click Add New. Put in the incident area, the hazards and risks, and the mitigations. In the previous video, the ICS 215 had a branch and a division. In the future, there will be a functionality inside the ICS 215 that you'll be able to press a button and it'll automatically fill out the ICS 215A with regards to the area. So when you click the button, there will be an incident area created based on what you did on the 215. So in this case, this is going to be the perimeter group. And some of the risks are traffic collisions, trip and fall. Then you put in your mitigation, signage, speed limits, road vests. Hit apply. When it's time to print, click on the print form. This video has been on how you can produce the ICS 215A using Dragonfly.